Well, hello. I'm driving in Fargo about 3 years ago, or thereabouts, almost 3 years ago. And what a world it is. How much the world has changed. And I just want to talk about that a little bit. I've made some promises. I've planned some videos here on this channel, and I've been kind of failing lately. It's good to look back, maybe see some of why. So I filmed this footage long before I ever heard of a little virus called COVID-19. And wow, how that virus has changed a lot of things. And how it hasn't changed some things I thought it would change. But I hadn't heard of it when I filmed this. I was in Fargo. I was taking a class on computer science and learned a lot. It made me able to teach some classes, and I just kind of think it would have been interesting if I would have known what was coming. Of course, I get to Fargo so infrequently that I have no clue what part of Fargo this was filmed in. We will get to a familiar part, but this isn't it. But I've been thinking a lot about me then versus me now, and a couple other things. So let's get the present out of the way first. In the present, I spent the weekend. I spent 2 days down in Leeds, South Dakota. I did some touring. I went to Custer, South Dakota. I saw the Crazy Horse National Monument. I toured Rapid City. I toured Deadwood. I toured Leeds. And I planned to do a Pens and Use this weekend, but my God, it was horrible. So I didn't end up publishing it. I'm going to edit the footage together for next weekend, but I just thought, ugh, this is crap. Okay, it didn't help that I got to Leeds, South Dakota Thursday night and said, oh, let's do some writing. And the only pen in my pocket was a Lamy 2000 because the other pens I'd planned to bring along got left here at home. So I did write that Lamy 2000 dry, so there is that. But yeah, that was kind of awkward. I just was disappointed, and I don't know. Whoops. Okay, if you heard that, the microphone just fell over onto my lap all of a sudden. Where was I? So I went down there on Thursday. I planned to film in Deadwood Thursday night because I was told, get there early because, that whole St. Patrick's Day crowd is kind of murder. And, the St. Patrick's Day crowd was already there. So I just I'm just going to go on. And so I went up through Central City, South Dakota, which is a very interesting visit if you ever get into the area. And then I went on to Leeds and got into my room. And it was still light out, so I thought, oh, what the hell? Let's walk up and down Main Street again. Now, the last time I did that, I had my camcorder with me. This time, buoyed by multiple hikes and so on, I thought, I've got a cell phone. It does everything. Well, apparently it does everything except record good audio when you're surrounded by traffic. Yeah, so that was a waste of time. So I had no usable footage of I had no usable audio for the whole tour of Leeds and Deadwood, and I even got down to Crazy Horse. So, yeah, I've got video, but no audio. And I was a little lost by that, and I tried editing a video together using the audio I had, and trying to make it work, pump up the gain or whatever, and it was a fail. And I didn't know what to do with it. So I struggled a little bit, and put together about, 38 minutes of video or something like that. And I just thought, who the hell would watch this? I mean, I didn't even have the pens in it. So I said, heck with it. I tossed it all. I think that was the right decision. You know, I may not have gotten a pens in use out this week, but next week I will. And next week I will have had time over multiple evenings through this entire week to put together a properly narrated video where I will include the history and a little bit of context for the whole thing of Lead and Deadwood. And I won't be just trying to slap it together in a poorly heated bed and breakfast bedroom. I'll actually have time. So, to put out a quality product, that's what I have to do. And by the way, right here, I had no flipping clue where I was. I got lost and made a wrong turn. And I'm like, oh shit, that didn't turn out how I expected, and I'm going to have to turn around eventually. My South Dakota tour turned out kind of like that. I actually really enjoyed walking around Lead. I did run into a Nazi bumper sticker, which was ew, which I'll put up in that video that's coming this coming Friday. But other than that, I kind of enjoyed the tour. It was good to revisit all these places I'd seen before. And I just got to thinking, what if I had ended up in this town? I'm actually kind of glad I didn't. Where I'm in is kind of the ass end of nowhere, but it's, it's not the edge of the earth, but you can see it from here, is what they say. But I think I'm better off. And it also gives me a good window into other places, and I think, yeah. So would I have been happy in Lead? Maybe. But I think I'm doing well where I'm at. Does that make sense? I don't know. I was kind of introspective during that walk, especially after I saw the Nazi bumper sticker. I'm like, whoa, that was a swastika. Did I see that? And I'm like, yeah, I was filming and talking, and I'm just so glad the owner of the house where that Nazi bumper sticker was parked out front, I'm so glad they didn't come out and say, hey, what are you doing? You one of them goddamn libs? I'm going to whoop you. Yeah, I don't have a Nazi bumper sticker. Weird. But there is that danger from people that think like that, these totalitarians. I don't know what to do about that. So, anyway, moving on, because there's nowhere to go from, hey, Nazi! So the next day I went down to Deadwood, and I started filming, and actually it was kind of interesting because nobody was up yet. I actually parked on Main Street, Deadwood, and yeah, funny enough, there was parking there, and mainly the traffic there was people doing deliveries to all the bars and whatnot, and it was interesting. There was the bar survivors and the people waking up and whatnot, but mostly it's delivery people, and I kind of had the place to myself, and I just kind of enjoyed it. I saw some things. Okay, I have never walked on Deadwood's Main Street before. I've driven it a few times, so I've never walked it. And I saw some things that just like, what? I got to see, here is where Wild Bill Hickok was shot. Oh, yeah, here, that's where the guy that shot Wild Bill Hickok got caught. Things like that. I got to see their school. I got weirded out as I approached their front door, and I just thought, I don't know. And I just thought, oh, yeah, I'm not going to film this, but I did kind of want to film their cornerstone, but I believe it was 1924, if my memory works. I enjoyed it, though. but it was cold, and the camera died. I mean, what the hell? But the camera died, and so I didn't get nearly as much as I hoped. I'd reserved more parking time than I needed because I was just like, well, can't film anymore, so might as well go on. And but I had a good time, and there are museums there. There are historic sites, and I think it could be fun to kind of stay there. But the big thing for me is I'm not a gambler, and I'm glad. And I saw a lot of gambling there. Now, I guess good for Deadwood that they found a way to survive. They found a way to be a thriving town and move on. But, ew. I don't think gambling is how I would want to do that, but when your back's against the wall, I guess things look a little different. Deadwood has a lot of bars, has a lot of casinos. I saw a bar slash casino with a little sign about books and, we'll entertain your little brat while you gamble. Yeah, okay, maybe I'll just abandon my kid to strangers while I go gamble. Ew. I don't know, I'm not sure how I feel about it. I don't gamble. I drink alcohol sometimes. But it's not a lifestyle for me. And I'm not sure where I am with this town. And okay, let's be clear, I'm not calling for any kind of government action. I just was really weirded out by the casinos that had a spot for the kids, and I just thought, I can't picture, as a parent, taking my kid to an adult entertainment venue. Yeah, I had to clean my windshield because it was fogging up for some reason, which it sometimes does in the right combination of temperature and humidity. But anyway, I just thought, ew. And let's be clear, my parents were not parents who gambled. They were not parents who drank. They were not parents who did anything like that. So my parents were not ones who would abandon me in a casino so they could go gamble. So let me tell you about the one time I was ever in a casino. I don't want to be too specific because it identifies specific people that I used to work with. So let's just say we were on the way back from a football game, and they stopped at a casino here in North Dakota. And I didn't know that was part of the plan. I should have. I mean, considering where the football game was held, but I'm just like, duh. And they proceeded to spend several hours there. Well, I brought like $1.50 with me. I had no cash with me because I wasn't planning on spending any cash. I brought enough money to buy some food at the concession stand for supper, and that was it. And so I just kind of wandered around, and it was kind of creepy watching people in those slot machines where they pull the handle and pull the handle. Ew! It was nasty. And then I saw a few people I knew kind of randomly from outside this context also come into this casino, and it just freaked me out. I ended up spending, I think if it wouldn't have been such a shock to me, it would have been a good experience just observing human nature and observing gambling. But I mean, I've mentioned that I don't mind a drink now and then. That's one of those nights when I kind of wish I would have had money with me to buy a drink, because I'm just like, what the hell do I do? Because I don't gamble. So I was bored for several hours. And yeah, I was glad when that got over. So, yeah, Deadwood has just never appealed to me. I just, I know adult entertainment and all that, but, and different strokes for different folks, but it's just not something I get. And, when I do the video on Lead and Deadwood, I'm going to talk about how the towns kind of survived because of gambling, but ew. And then, I saw several churches while I'm walking around Deadwood, and I just thought, I bet you don't preach about sins of gambling. What do you talk about? And what do people do for a living in Deadwood? Oh yeah, I run the casino. Oh yeah, I serve blackjack or whatever they call it. Awkward. It's just kind of gross. And I think what really brings the word gross to my mind is the fact that this casino had stuff for kids, so their parents wouldn't be inconvenienced by having a kid, so their parents could just go gamble. I just thought that was gross. Really overreacting a little bit, but I've been teaching for, since spring of 1999. I student taught fall of 1998. I have heard the absolute hellhole some of my students have to go home to. And you just think, why did these parents have kids? Why put another human being through this if you're just not capable of providing a home to another human being? And it's just sad to see a business enabling that kind of behavior. And I guess that's why that casino really pissed me off. I'm going to have to be careful when I edit the footage together, because I think I'm going to show the sign, but I better be careful not to show which casino it is, just so they don't get after me. But it just made me mad. And, if you're not sure whether you want to have kids or not, don't, because you're probably not ready. Kids are a huge responsibility, and one of the things with that huge responsibility is giving up a lot of things you want to do, because you got to take care of that kid and be a parent to that kid. And yeah, we all want to have fun and cut loose sometimes, but being a parent is a real sacrifice. And yeah, anyway, the Deadwood thing kind of made me mad, and I realize now that I've been off on a tangent, and I should probably get back to the main thread of this video. Okay, so on a marginally happier note, I ran into a treasure trove on my Evernote of articles that I had saved of school closings. And some of the very poignant comments that were made by people, teachers, parents, former students, and so on, about their schools closing. And I think after I get this Minot thing, which I'll get to that, out of the way, I think I'm going to do my first video on that. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to format it, but I think I need to discuss it. It is interesting. It's part of what's driven me to some of the places where I've worked. Whereas I might have stayed where I was if I felt more secure that, hey, this school will stay open. But, oh yeah, look at the train. But anyway, part of why I ended up in the places I did was just the fear that, yeah, I'm not going to be able to retire from this school. And I should probably do a little talk about teaching in small schools versus larger schools, and why I haven't gone to even larger schools yet. So, lots of potential there. I really want to get back into the driving video thing, and some of them will research, some of them like this, where I just kind of ramble. And I think this school thing is definitely one of them. So, this train took up a lot of time out of the video. I sat there for a long time, and when I think this is like the main street through Fargo, North Dakota, it snarled up traffic for blocks and blocks and blocks away. Because, of course, people are stupid, and you saw them. They'll stop in the intersection even if, they're on a red light, and you're just like, whoa. So, what happens after this goes through? And, yeah, from what I hear, I was lucky I got through when I did, because Fargo became a snarled up mess. And you would think they'd know better, but apparently not. So anyway, I have some stories to tell about schools that are just desperate. We can't get teachers. Oh, and we can't offer any benefits. We can't even offer Social Security, but why can't we get any teachers? Or just they run out of kids. They have that old retired workforce that hangs on, but there are just no more kids. So I have several stories like that, and anyway, I have photographs of all the schools involved, but I don't have tours of the schools or driving video footage of most of them. So I will probably just intersperse some kind of driving video footage with photographs. But on that note, I really need to clean up the Minot thing and just finish that off. And I've been putting it off because I just... Ew. But I just need to get that done. So I'm going to get it done. And then I will feel free to move on. It's just a weird mental quirk of mine that I got to finish the topic before I move on to something else. So that's what I'm going to do. Not sure about other topics, but one thing I know, my first little bit of driving footage is going to be from Velva North. We're actually going to, on that footage, probably not in the first video, but in a future video, we're going to go through Upham, North Dakota, which is home to an abandoned school, which is actually home to the school that got me interested in the plight of rural schools that are closing down. And this huge school building sold for less than what I paid for my little 672 square foot house. So that's kind of interesting. But I did visit there, and we'll incorporate my footage of West Hope and so on into it. And I do have one more town that I taught in before my current one, so I got to do another lessons learned video from that town sometime before I get there. But on the way to it, I'll have some fun footage of the Turtle Mountains and a few other interesting things. And on the way home from there, I had some other interesting visits. So, yeah, I have a lot of footage put together. I just have to get over that one hump that I've been dreading and get it over with. Minot again. And move on. Also excited, I was down, I think I mentioned this already, but I went to Custer and saw the Crazy Horse Monument, and yeah, that reignited my desire to get this Great Sioux War video made. So hopefully I can finish that up this summer. I also, last year I planned on a Halloween video. It just didn't get done, so I'm hoping to get it done this year. And I'm also looking at getting, I had a suggestion from a viewer because I was out of ideas, but I'm looking at doing some kind of a video for April Fools, which turns out to be Pens in Use Day. So if you watch Pens in Use on April 1st, maybe don't be too shocked at how I treat my pens, because it's all theater. I had a good time last year. I did big vintage pen, and I tried to do it like a vintage advertisement, and it was kind of fun. I brought up all the fun quirks of working with vintage pens. So this idea isn't quite as good, but I think I can shock a few people. So, if I can do that, hey, what the heck, it's worth it. So, I'm noticing this train kind of slowing down. I don't remember much about the train. I just remember waiting for it. I probably pulled out a book and started reading because I got bored sitting there, but the dash cam kept going. The train is so long, who knows what's going on down at the engine end, why they had to stop. But I just can't help but think, how long does it sit there and just block up this major street through Fargo, North Dakota? And I have experienced the same thing in Rame, North Dakota. But when you block up the major street in Rame, North Dakota, it's not quite the same thing in a city of 150 people as it is in a city the size of Fargo. So, I don't know. Railroad definitely gets away with a lot. And, I'm a big fan of Railroad, but I just kind of wonder how they get away with it sometimes. In other exciting news, I'm going to be doing some more book videos. I've got several books lined up, notes written. I've been kind of busy. We're running into Regional Science Olympiad, and most years I'd talk more about it, but there are some bad things going on with Regional Science Olympiad that are really outside of a lot of people's control, but are really frustrating, and I just don't want to get into it. But anyway, Regional Science Olympiad is next week, so hopefully once I get that over with, I'll have more free time. For reasons, again, not totally in our control, we're probably not going to make it to State Science Olympiad, so I'm just ready for a lot of it to be over. So, but yeah, I'll have more free time after that. But a lot of things just pile up, and you just wonder where the free time goes. And probably shouldn't have done my trip to Lead and stayed home and gotten ahead on a bunch of work, but I didn't, and paying the price for it. But I think it's a worthwhile price. I needed to get away. I needed that little breath of sanity, little time away. Oh, look, the train's moving again. So, anyway, they're just... I always feel bad when I don't stick to my schedule of upload and so on, and but I've learned to accept that, yeah, there are just those times when you just can't. Life gets in the way, and my job is a big piece of my life, and what are you going to do? One thing I was thinking just recently is I don't have a lot of video of me driving in the snow, like truly in the snow. And there's probably a really good reason for that. Mainly, I don't drive in bad weather. If it's at all possible to avoid it, I do. And basically I can avoid it because I walk to work. So, yeah, don't expect a whole lot of snow driving in this channel, because I don't. I stay home when it's snowy. So, and we've had not very snowy winters the past couple of years, so there is that also. So also expect some more hiking videos, and of course, I want to get back on the pen repair thing, because I haven't done my piston videos yet, or my sack replacement videos, or I don't think I've replaced a J-bar yet either. So I want to get some of those videos done too. And again, that free time thing will just determine all that. And I enjoy my little visits to different towns, and I need to do some more of that too. Just some more spots in North Dakota, and maybe revisit some other aspects of spots I've already visited. As a fun note, I'm planning this summer to take a class, another computer programming class in Fargo, North Dakota, for about a week. So I may get to film some more of Fargo. Maybe, hey, maybe the other half of, was it Broadway that I didn't film the last time I was there because of the whole rain thing. So, anyway, I'm looking forward to doing that. And just lots of things. I just... fountain pens are definitely the backbone of the channel, but there is so much that I'm interested in, and, I'm not ever going to make a living at doing this, so what the heck? I might as well share my different interests, even if sometimes it offends people. So, you're just going to see more of that. So anyway, just a lot to come, and There wasn't much point to this video other than I didn't get my pens in use done. And I don't feel bad about that. It just turned out to be a much bigger project than I thought it would be, and with far fewer tools available than I thought there would be, including pens. So I will get it done through this week. And I've been sitting on this Fargo footage for several years, just waiting for a moment to use it. And I just decided, you know what, I'm going to use it. So here you are. I guess to close this up, behind the train here, you can see a red brick building with kind of a white masonry top. That was actually a old Ford factory. They used to make Fords there, right here on Broadway in Fargo. They don't anymore. It's been retrofitted to apartments, but kind of interesting. And you can't see it from this angle, but there's actually an old water tower on top of, not water tower, water tank on the top of it. Just kind of a historical building. And it really makes you think how much the world has changed. And, that brings me back to the other topic of the video, which is the COVID thing. When I filmed this, I wasn't weirded out by being around people the way I am now. Yes, I am triple vaccinated right at the moment against COVID, but I don't like being around people. My high school played at the, state basketball recently. I didn't go because the idea of sitting in the bleachers around all those people was, I'll be around people. I kind of have to as a teacher. But I view that as more I have to rather than I want to. And, I just don't want to be around people. The whole restaurant thing, I really struggled to go into a restaurant. When I stayed down in Lead, one night I went to a Mexican restaurant, got takeout, because I just didn't want to sit in there. And then I ate another day at Crazy Horse. And I waited till the crowd was gone. And then I went in. Just little things like that just wouldn't have been an issue for me before. Deadwood with all their restaurants. Yeah, I know lots of bars and garbage like that too. But lots of restaurants, and just couldn't bring myself to try one. How long till I'm just totally comfortable with people again? And I don't know. And I wouldn't have seen this coming back when I filmed this video. And it's kind of sad how much COVID has just changed us. And, has really brought to the forefront the people we're around and how they view their social responsibility toward others. I don't think just of myself. What am I doing to protect those around me? And getting vaccinated is part of that. Yeah, part of the reason I got vaccinated was purely selfish, but part of it is to minimize the risk to others. And I hate that this virus has done that. But I also have a responsibility to others, and what do? So, I think we've all seen it in different ways. Some people, I'm sure, are more upset on a totally different direction. I'm not planning a big delve into the COVID topic in this video. That'd be a topic for another video, but anyway, I just... you always think, well, it'd be nice if life gets back to normal, but what is normal? Because it never really goes back to how it was. It just settles on a new normal. And one of these days we'll figure out what that new normal is. And I don't know what it is, but that's what's coming. So anyway, I want to thank you for watching. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.